Fuck you, Netflix. We're moving to Disney Plus.
Woo.
Disney Plus all the way.
Woo.
Sponsor us, Netflix.
You're still saying sponsor us, Netflix.
Hi, I'm Ben.
And his two friends, Moss.
No one's gonna get that.
I got it.
Stefan's the one who just talked with the bad joke, and Michael's the one who with the deep voice. And we're animating in threes.
I shouldn't wave into the microphone.
No, you
You
shouldn't.
can't see.
Why are you being quiet? You didn't join me in the animating in threes thing.
Yeah, that's uncharacteristic of you. Usually I'm the incompetent one.
Help, I'm a
And
fish.
this is all the cues.
We are an animation podcast where three guys talk about an animated series or movie from an animator's perspective. And this week we are going to be covering the Slaves of Zygerria arc from Star Wars The Clone Wars, which are episodes 11, 12, and 13 on Disney+.
Thank God, I watched the right ones.
Well, I'm glad you did. Otherwise, it would be very confusing because you probably would have watched like one or two episodes from this arc and one completely different one.
Yeah, it had Anakin in it. That's novel.
Yes, it did.
Most of the series has Anakin in it.
It's not actually Christopher
No,
McDowell. What's his name?
It's not Hayden Christensen.
Okay, Hayden Christensen.
Christensen McDowell. Love that guy.
Okay, but before we get into that, we're going to be talking about some animation news from the past however many weeks, because we've been on a bit of a hiatus.
Yes, not that any of you noticed.
I mean, my brother did. He was
Oh,
like,
that's
"Whoa,
nice.
where's the episodes,
Is he
Ben?"
our one subscriber on Wooshka?
No. I don't think he put enough time
Just
to make an account.
Our one listener, which is also a member of your family, didn't bother to subscribe. We peaked popularity with that Doctor Who episode when we got like a comment from that Doctor Who Appreciation Society, and it just all went downhill.
That was the high point of our career.
But we're gonna keep doing it until Disney Plus and/or Stan gives us a sponsorship or something.
Okay.
Who do we like this week?
Just
No one.
Okay, we like.
I'm alright with Disney this week because Agent Carter's not bad.
The first bit of animation news is that the producers of the Castlevania show on Netflix are creating another show called Heaven's Forest. Anyone heard of that? Probably
Nope.
not. It might be an original thing. There's the thing. So good on you, Netflix, for doing something when Disney Plus is about to dominate the market. Good on you.
Do you think people come here for information or like at least elaboration on news headlines?
I hope not.
Well, people don't come here full stop, so let's just do whatever.
Okay, so
Let's just do the Macarena.
you
You know, Macarena, a visual, a completely visual dance routine.
Perfect
Like
for
all
a
dance.
podcast.
I mean,
Perfect for a
technically the
podcast.
Macarena is the song, so we can just put the song on.
Do you think there's a podcast that's like dance instructions?
I hope so. That would be amazing.
Or like Richard Simmons, like learn to exercise. And there's just Richard Simmons like shouting really specific instructions into the microphone. Lift your arm. The other arm.
No, not that way. Bend your arm
But
the
you're
other
the other
way.
way. I don't know what's going on. I'm old.
Okay,
And also,
so
he disappeared for like 20 years.
good on him.
Richard Simmons, where is he? He's the robot in Mr. Burns' mansion.
Okay, let's
Continue.
get back to news, I guess. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse sequel has an announced as a date that is going to be released. What is it called?
December?
No.
I'm trying to think of the
It
month.
has a release date. There we go.
Oh,
I forgot the word.
this is just the train just careening off the tracks.
Anyway, it's going to be April 8th, 2022.
Didn't the last one come out in Christmas?
It came out, in December.
Wait, 2020. Okay, no, that's
last year.
That's
About a 3 to 4 year gap.
That's good though because animation takes a long time.
And it actually shows that they're going to put time and effort to actually making it good.
I-
rather than the actual Spider-Man films where they're going to make it every 2 years.
Yeah, I was worried there would actually be. I thought they'd do like an 18-month turnaround or something like that because of the success of the previous film. But it's
Because,
nice that they're giving them
Sony
time.
is known for doing that.
I wonder if they've learned that less studio interference is better, and that's why that film was a success.
And
'Cause-
maybe that's why we haven't seen any footage of that Morbius film.
Can we make a prediction that they're gonna somehow force Tom Hardy's Venom into it as like part of the multiverse?
I reckon once the Spider-Man is done with the MCU, they're going to do that. Because if they're doing this third movie, I reckon they'll go, okay, after this third movie, we're going to go back to do our own things. And we're going
They tried to do that initially. That was their bargaining tactic.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, we'll show you by putting it in our shitty universe that somehow made $1 trillion.
Next bit of animation news. There was a trailer and a poster for Disney Pixar's second film of next year, Soul.
Oh yeah, man crossing the street.
Yes, so
I saw that poster.
I honestly think, like, the visual aesthetic of this film looks amazing. So in the real world, everything just looks so nice, crisp, and clean, and very realistic, yet still allowing for the humans to have that very caricatured look.
I don't like his face.
Oh, okay.
You racist bastard.
Wow, the first thing Stefan says this episode, you racist bastard.
That's beside. Hey, that's a half truth.
Yeah, he's only a...
Which part?
Yeah, which word? His brow is like a foot further back in his face than the rest of his face. So it looks like he's just been punched really hard in the eyes.
Well, you know what? Maybe he did. I guess we'll find out.
It's probably
next
part of
year.
the look, but it freaks me out. Anyway, continue.
But no, I think...
I'm sure the film will be delightful.
As a teaser trailer, it really did work for me. And the fact that they're going to center around music and like soul,
gonna
jazz music as well, I think that's a really clever tactic.
He's got to look for his wife. That's just a pair of legs.
Yes.
Or maybe he's just.
Also, it's going to cross over with Onwards. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a torso without a head that's just flailing around.
Do you know what Pixar is?
It's
I don't know what podcasts are.
Technically, Pixar is a computer.
Oh.
Is it? Is it a program or something?
No, it's a computer.
Oh.
Because back in the 80s and stuff, they didn't have like PCs and stuff. What they did was they made a specific computer for specific things.
Yeah, yeah.
So Pixar computer was to do like animations and that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, so that's what Pixar is, and that's where they got the name. And Steve Jobs bought them, and then Disney bought it, and all that. Okay, so we also got a trailer for Scoob.
Loved it.
Next.
I loved it so much.
You actually did love it? Okay.
I thought it was incredible.
Really?
I
think it.
I liked how the characters were reinterpreted. I like Zac Efron. I like Shaggy's newer voice. I think it looks like a fun story. I'm not really fine with the fact that it's another origin, but I think if they play their cards right, it'd be really cute.
I think the character designs look really just vacuous. You know what I mean?
So like just like a plain copy of the original series?
No, I would have liked that. I would have liked if they did that Peanuts route.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
But they made it look really shit, and you can see like the seams in like the in like the animation cells and like and like the cell and scene number in the top left corner. Remember that they did that episode of Futurama when like they do a parody of Scooby-Doo and like the mystery machine like stops in a forest, but they're just like dragging the animation cell across the background and you can see the little number at the top move. I wish they did something like that, but it's so like glossy and
I think
clean.
it's like for
Scooby-Doo was so like dirty. Not in a
yeah, I know what
not
you
in
mean.
like a content way,
Yes.
but it looked rough because it was so cheap.
I think it's a good change for it, especially since you got to realize as well, this isn't the first Scooby-Doo movie. Scooby-Doo's had
know.
like 20 billion movies. So
Where
it's
one of them was written by James Gunn.
I liked Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
that was the best one. I love
Deep
that
cut,
one.
yeah.
They've also done CGI Scooby-Doos before, but this one feels the most different and stand-up because the other ones seem way too generic with their 3D. This seems like it's trying to have that cartoony flair. But the thing about this movie and how their characters have been reinterpreted newly is that they're also a lot less stereotyped because when this was originally made, I mean in the 60s, Shaggy was the stoner, Velma was the geek, the nerd, Daphne was the prom queen, and Fred was the jock. Whereas here it seems like they're trying to flatten that out a bit. Shaggy just seems like a goofy kind of kid into like pop culture stuff with that Falcon thing they're talking about. Velma just seems like a smart, educated person. Zac Efron is Zac Efron. I mean, Fred is Zac Efron. And Daphne just seems like... She just seems a lot more outgoing, but not quite the prom queen as she was in the 60s. So,
And the damsel in distress.
yeah, I like how they're streaming that out a bit. Everyone has a bit more middle ground.
My favourite comment about the film, like there was like a top comment on YouTube or some kind of forum with the trailer on it, was just, if you're not going to give Fred the ascot, then why even bother?
But he doesn't... Why would he wear
His
the
whole
ascot?
character is the ascot.
No, it's
He doesn't have a character, it's the ascot.
Yeah.
You look at him and go, look at that guy wearing an ascot. And then when he talks, you're just looking at the ascot. Who wears an ascot? I'm done.
Okay. Okay. We got some short clips from the Marvel What If series. Have you seen them?
Yes, it's Peggy Carter jumping out of a plane or something.
Yeah, so there's lots of little clips. So first there's back in World War II, you have Peggy Carter as a Captain America, Captain Britain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. Then we also have Steve Rogers in a proto Iron Man suit.
There was a Captain Britain named Brian Braddock, who was the brother of Psylocke.
Ah,
Do you throw tea at people?
No, he's in charge of guarding the Omniverse.
I think you have talked about him before.
It's an omniverse. Isn't that the thing from Ben 10?
I'm fairly certain that they just wanted something that sounded more important than multiverse.
Okay.
Because there's the Marvel Multiverse, which includes all the alternate realities, and then there's the Omniverse, which technically includes every multiverse. So presumably it would include like
So what
the
does it
DC
include?
universe and like
okay.
the Transformers universe and our universe.
So it's every single multiverse.
It's every single fictional multiverse. It's never explicitly stated, but that's just what the term like fictional omniverse refers to.
Okay.
It's the collection of every multiverse.
So let's go back to Marvel What If.
Anyway, let's.
So yeah, we had that. We had Star-Lord, which was Black Panther.
That's the dumbest one to me.
Yeah, that is so
'cause-
dumb.
Yeah, they have like literally no
Because
crossover.
and there's so many instances of like, well, what if this series of events, took place, in a different manner throughout the entire kind of Marvel
Which,
cinematic
that
canon.
makes sense.
Yeah,
but-
there's so many like unanswered questions or different timelines that you could explore. I've never once thought, what if the Black Panther man was Star-Lord?
Yeah, that one's weird. And we actually got a confirmation for Marvel Zombies as well, which I think is great because everyone's been wanting it for ages, and they're finally giving it, even though it's just an animated series.
Do you think it's going to have a really sad scene when Peter Parker has to deal with the fact that he ate Mary Jane and his
No,
kid?
he ate Tony Stark this time.
Oh, did he?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh,
that
I thought that
because
would be
he's
kinda
very
cool.
sad that Tony Stark dies.
I don't think it had got to be. He said that Tony Stark died because he killed him. No, I don't think they're going to go that dark. Even like the zombie designs are like weird, kind of magic-y,
They're kind of like
eyesy.
the Walking Dead Telltale game series type.
Have you read Marvel Zombies? The comic?
No, I haven't.
It's odd because all the zombies are still like intelligent, like they still maintain like their
And I guess
humanity, but they just have this insatiable hunger.
Oh, so it's just like they're cannibals.
Yeah.
More like.
Like the Hulk like eats a lot of people and then turns back into Banner, and like the people inside him stay the same size. So Banner's like stomach
Ew.
ruptures and everything.
Oh, that's not fun.
It's really, really gross. But
Who thought of that?
oh, I don't know. It's probably Garth Ennis or something.
I thought you said Garfield. It's probably Garfield.
Probably Garfield.
Let's talk about the final piece of animation news, because I guess we
Ever.
yeah,
They're closing it all down.
which is the new Sonic redesign in the Sonic movie. Even though this is technically a live action film.
Stefan, there's only two of you. I should remember which one.
Stefan, what are your
No,
thoughts?
As our in-house Sonic expert,
I'm not as much of an expert, but I just say it's incredible. Everyone on the internet already loves it. It's just perfect. It's cartoony again, which is all anyone really wanted.
are people acknowledging, you could disagree with me, that the film still looks bad?
Yeah, it looks bad,
Yeah.
but it looks funnily bad.
The amount of denial, I think, in like the online Sonic community about the quality of the film, it's really strange.
I don't think so because
I think it's flat out denial.
no, because everyone in the Sonic fandom is used to things being terrible.
Oh, so
all
this is
their
like a
games.
masterpiece.
Yeah, well, Sonic 06 was terrible. Sonic
But you
Lost
like
World
that
was
one?
terrible. I love all Sonic games, no matter how crap they
What's
are.
that one I bought you that's awful but you wanted?
Lost World.
Yeah.
Do you still want to talk about Sonic?
Yeah, I just wanted to say they got Ben shared this on Twitter that they got Tyson Hensey to work on the redesign of Sonic for the CG.
Who's that?
Tyson, he's a storyboarder and graphic novel maker. I've got his graphic novel here. He's really awesome. He worked on the Invader Zim new movie.
Does he do Sonic?
Yeah, he did all the animated shorts for Sonic Mania, which is some of the best animated Sonics
It
I've ever
turns
seen.
out the secret to redesigning Sonic for the film was just to make him look like Sonic.
Yeah, keep him classic. Make him look like
You
Sonic.
didn't need to pay an expert $5 million or however much it was to redesign him. He probably just showed up with a picture of the character from the game. Do this!
It's like this, but not. No, but
Except without his weird skin color.
Look at Detective Pikachu and just do that with Sonic.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Detective Pikachu design.
But again, the animation in this also looks different. Like, I know they've had to do it from the ground up, but in the first trailer,
It looks realistic.
He was doing realistic, but even all the cartoony actions he did looked wrong. Whereas here, everything looks a lot more relaxed and...
Because it's not meant... Yeah, it's that whole thing, like, it doesn't look real, but it's not meant to look real. It's just meant to look good.
Yeah. And it looks great. I can't
What do you
wait
think
to
of
see
Jim Carrey and his love for lattes?
I like it.
That line is...
That's a funny line.
I think that's a funny line.
I really like that delivery. It's just so weird.
Every line in the original trailer is atrocious, but that line by Jim Carrey about the latte, just the delivery is funny.
It is.
It also... The redesign, I think, presents us Zack Snyder-ish problem. I really want to see the ugly cut of the film.
It doesn't
now.
exist.
No, it
Oh,
doesn't.
no.
So what they did, when they
How
released
much
the
did they-
original trailer, they only did the trailer renders and nothing else was done.
That seems
completed.
really late in the game, though, because it was like...
It was going to come out around this time of year.
Yeah, that seems like they can't... Can you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't pay your animators and make them work 36 hours a day,
Again,
so I guess that's how they do it.
It's a Sega. Sega's not exactly the best time management,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't say it was too late in the game for them.
No, I really want to see it filmed with...
The worst thing
With that
ever
awful,
constructed.
awful-
I also do. I reckon what they should do, just in the film, just inexplicably, just scene from scene, change it from one design to the other.
With that transition, just like the camera angle switches and is different.
That'd be so bad.
It would, but it would be amazing.
And have like every time it's the old Sonic, can they play like very, very light, like very soft, so you can only just hear it, but like vaguely demonic Latin chanting
Yeah.
every time the old
That
one's
sounds
on screen.
amazing. 10 out of 10. Okay, do you want to talk about one more bit of animation news?
What is
No.
it, Ben?
Okay.
What was it?
So, Disney Plus has The Simpsons on it, right?
Oh, this is about the aspect ratio.
The aspect ratio.
Yeah.
So a lot of the older episodes from like season 15 and below, they have the 4:3 ratio because obviously like all the TVs like in that era were box TVs. So, they animated it in a 4:3 ratio so it could fit in the box TV. But then what they've done is to make it widescreen, they've cut the top and the bottom off.
Yeah, I think they want to promote the services like Ultra HD, and you can view it,
but
like you've never seen.
you can
before.
still make a 4:3 ratio thing HD without cutting off and making it widescreen.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't too fussed to begin with because we own all the.
Yeah, we own them all, so...
Yeah. But
Nonetheless, for like people who haven't and they want to watch it, they miss out on a lot
it's
of
not,
stuff.
Yeah, it's not ideal because it's not stretched. It's just
It's just they literally
it's
cut
fitted.
out frames.
Yeah, it's-
parts of the frame.
Yeah, it's fitted and it's skewed like down so that you can still read the credits at the start.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's like little people pointing out like there's little visual jokes that you can miss because of the new aspect ratio.
Hmm.
Like the one I think they cited online was when Homer visits the Duff Brewery.
Yeah.
And you remember how there's Duff and there's Duff Dry and there's Duff Light. But if you look at the ceiling, there's one pipe that just splits into three, like they're all the
Yeah,
same beer.
But you miss out on that
But
joke.
they cut the pipe out.
Yeah, so you don't see
Yeah,
that.
it's just the silos. So yeah. So no, I get it. It seems like a weird move.
Yeah, but apparently Disney are going to fix it by March next year.
Okay, that's fine. At least they acknowledge it. Yeah, because there's a button on your on like almost every TV remote that
Yeah.
automatically adjusts the aspect ratio. I mean, I guess maybe a lot of people aren't technologically inclined, and
Also, a lot of people watch it on their laptops now.
that's true. But still, I watch it in 4:3. It's the whole picture.
Yeah.
But anyway, do what you want. No, let me tell you what to do.
Okay, so let's get into Star Wars: The Clone Wars: The Slaves of Zygerria arc. With the information on this, there's not a lot, seeming as a lot of it was in the previous Star Wars episode we did, the Umbara arc. Go check that out if you want, or at least that information section. And we cover a lot of how it was made. But for this, there's very little, but for a reason. So
Is it bad?
no.
Because it wasn't bad. It was
The
okay.
only news about it, pretty much, was the fact that this is based off a comic.
Ah. Is the
From-
comic?
From Legends or from canon?
Yes, from Now Legends. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
It's like how
back
General Krell.
Krell.
You love saying that guy's name.
That's the blue guy, right?
don't even
Talking
know
about
who he is.
Thrawn.
Thrawn, that's it.
Back in 2008, when the Clone Wars was beginning to air on TV, they decided, you know what, let's run a comic series beside this. So the very first 6 issues of that comic run was called The Slaves of Zygerria arc.
Is the comic drawn in the same marionette way?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
However, because this comic was done with the first season, they all still had their first season looks. So Anakin still had that weird blue and red on his costume.
I haven't
with
seen the
clone-
first season. I've just watched what you've
I
told
know.
me to.
Obi-Wan still had more armor on him as well. And Ahsoka was 14 then and had a crop top on.
And also the weirdest arm
don't like
mesh on a 3D model. Her arm mesh was really weird.
Anyway, so
Arms are tricky.
Yeah, they are. But if you see the first season movie, the movie special, that she looks weird. She looked like a skeleton that was red, a red skeleton, and it just wasn't good.
Anyway, so one of the writers of the comic was Tony Gilroy, and he also helped write some of the first season of the series. So when they decided in season 4 that they're going to adapt this comic arc, they got him back to help write it.
Nice.
The show. And after we talk about the episode, I'm going to be doing a comparison about differences between the comic and the episodes.
The comics obviously have a lot more hardcore nudity, I'd assume.
Not far off it.
Oh, I was trying to be a joke, but okay.
Not far off it, Stefan.
Oh no.
Okay, so we're going to get into the episodes now. There was the 3 episodes. The Togruta people of Zeros have been kidnapped by the separatist forces.
This
so
sounds like
Obi-Wan.
gibberish to people who I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so there's an alien species that has been kidnapped by the evil separatists in Star Wars.
Is that Thrawn?
No.
It's not Thrawn. Thrawn is not in this series.
Who's Thrawn?
He's in Rebels. He shows
Star
up
Wars
like
Rebels.
once.
No, he
Okay.
shows up more than
Oh,
once.
does he?
He looks
Yeah.
like a frost giant.
Yeah, he's a frost giant. He's Loki. Whatever. Okay, go on, man.
I won't interrupt you anymore.
So they've been kidnapped by the separatists. So the Jedi, namely Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan, go to investigate with a bunch of clones. And then they figure out they've been taken to the slave world of Zygerria.
Ugh.
What?
Oh no, it sounds like Nigeria.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's probably based off that.
Is that the joke?
It's not. I wouldn't say it's the joke. I would say it's the inspiration.
We know nothing about the history or politics of Nigeria, so we're going to stop talking about it now.
Okay. After infiltrating the Zygerian queen's palace, they all get caught and get turned into slaves.
Good on him.
But then they
Whoops.
escape with the kidnapped people of Zeros as well. So it's a happy ending, I guess.
Except for the Queen, she dies.
Yeah, she does. So that's it. That's the story.
I liked the part when Anakin looked at the disgusting queen and went, "You're pretty."
Okay, so Michael, do you want to give your thoughts?
Elegant.
There was a cat lady, who had slaves.
That's not your thoughts. What are your thoughts?
That's just me trying to make sense of what I watched. Christopher Lee was in it for a bit.
So it wasn't actually Christopher Lee.
I know. It also looks nothing like him.
It does
to
not.
a comical degree.
I know, that's one of the main issues I have with
His
his...
head looks like a log. It's like a tree trunk.
It's like who they wish Christopher Lee could have been.
Did Disney not like purchase Christopher Lee's likeness or something like that?
You know what? I reckon... No, but that doesn't make sense because in the original movie, he was voiced by Christopher Lee.
Yeah. But like, does he look like that in the movie?
Yes.
The rest of them look. I know, like it's a villain. Like it's vaguely villainous, so you gotta like design him with a couple more angles. But like, his design is kind of. It contrasts everyone else's design too much. He's caricatured to a greater extent
Than
every
everyone else.
other
Yes,
character
he
in the
is.
film. Everyone's got kind of this quite normal squat face. You know, Ooga Magooga looks like Ooga Magooga.
And his beard is so much longer as
Yeah,
well.
and then there's this
His chest
guy
is so big
whose
and
head is 4
broad.
times larger than his body, and whose beard is 9 times longer than his face.
Yeah, it's really weird.
When he's introduced, like I had to wait till they said his name because I didn't believe it was him. Anyway, and then there's the cat lady who has the slaves.
Why are you saying the plot? What are your thoughts on it? Did you like it?
I'm trying to make sense of what I saw. I thought it was alright. Again, I have no frame of reference for anything going on.
Well, this is kind of its own adventure, so you
It
don't
opens
really have
quite
to.
cold though. Like I wasn't sure where they were or what they were doing. I know who Anakin is. I know who Obi-Wan is. I didn't know who the girl was.
Ahsoka. Yeah, so this was your first introduction. What do you think of Ahsoka?
She's the girl. I think that's the dynamic.
Okay, you know what, Michael? We're gonna let you rest for a bit.
You collect your thoughts.
Stefan, after you've done laughing, what do you think of this?
So this is the second bit of the Clone Wars I've seen. The first one was the Carnage of Krell arc that you showed me, which was very serious. This also was serious, but this was just so much funner. Like
It was a lot more fun,
I
yes.
loved the
It has lighter themes like slavery.
no, not lighter themes, but the 4 character dynamic of Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Captain Rex. I love that. Captain Rex and Obi-Wan were like their own mini unit. Ahsoka and Anakin play off each other incredibly well. And this is the first time I've seen Ahsoka, and the first time I saw her like whip out the 2 lightsabers and do like a backflip, I was like, where was she during the rest of the war? Like everything. She could have just single-handedly saved everyone.
Is she the character that you see for like a split second in The Phantom Menace and
No.
then people
That's
built like a whole
Shakti.
cannon around her?
That's
No,
Shaq.
that's
Aura Singh.
she's
Is it the same species?
No.
Oh, it looks like with the big head things.
Yeah.
Character-wise and arc-wise in this, I thought it was really incredible. I really loved how dark Anakin is written.
Yes.
Like in this, he
Yes.
is so furious at these slavers, and it makes sense because of
He used to be a
he's
slave.
slaver. And I also love the little animation things that were unspoken. That whenever Anakin would ruthlessly kill the slavers, Ahsoka would like look at him like what the hell are you doing?
That's
And
not
then-
a Jedi way to do things.
Yeah, like she doesn't need to say it. Just from that little glance, and Anakin's like little
Is
like
this before or after he kills the younglings?
After he kills the Tusken Raiders, but before the younglings.
Okay, so he's a psychopath already.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of the lighting and the actual animation, the lighting in this threw me because I just loved it so much. It had those nice Tuscan oranges everywhere. It reminded me of the Attack of the Clones, that Colosseum scene,
Yep.
except done well.
Yes.
And
done well.
That done well looks beautiful.
Because the atmosphere in this is really well done. You really get that like dusty sense of this slave-ridden world where like the top just don't care about the people at the bottom.
Again, when it handles its tough issues, I reckon it does it with enough levity and with enough like action that you accept that this is the darkness of the world, and yet it tells a very compelling story. So I really like this arc.
The comic came out in 2008, and that immediately dealt with how Anakin used to be a slave. But it took into its 4th season for the show to finally acknowledge that he used to be a slave. So I thought it was really great that we actually get to explore that, because that is something to me that is really important to
It's a
Anakin's
way of
character.
exploring character without strictly saying, "Oh, Anakin's sad. This is why he's
Exactly.
sad." Here, it's more like, "Oh, this is his past," and without him saying it, you can tell he's furious.
It's also, I would actually say, it's one of the most fun, mature arcs of the whole show, because, as you said, like does deal with mature themes, but it is really fun at the same time.
Yeah, because there's so many twists and turns where you don't actually know what Anakin's going to do, because Anakin's in a really tough spot most of the episode where he needs to protect the Queen, yet he needs to be against the Queen, yet he hates the Queen. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan is being so incompetent through the entire arc. He's just like, "Oh, we can deal this via negotiation." No, you can't.
He gets beat up by this guy. And then he goes, "Oh, let's rescue this chieftain. Oh, no, I get captured. Oh, what's going to happen now? Anakin's going to save me. No, I'm going to be
No, he
sent
gets
to work
sent
as a
down.
slave."
And I think it never got too busy is the main thing for me as well. Like, there's some shows that when they have a little arc like this, they have so much they got to give you, they just throw all this stuff at you and hope you can sort it out. But here it felt like they gave you the pieces. You didn't exactly need to know who that slaver on Zygerria was, you know, the guy on the chair.
Yes.
You didn't need to know who he was. You just knew, oh, he's a slaver. Look, he's killing people relentlessly. He's a bad guy. And that worked.
Yes.
And it played off all the other characters very well. So I really admire how this was written.
Yes. I honestly thought that part where, like, to get Obi-Wan to be a subservient slave, they would, like, kill other people. They would punish other people and not
Yeah,
him.
because they realize that as a Jedi, they can't actually
Break
affect
him himself, yeah.
because he doesn't care what happens to himself. He's a martyr in that sense.
So if, they punish other people instead of him, it's just a brilliant, like, it's horrible, obviously.
Oh,
But it's
yeah.
a brilliant way to get him to be subservient. One of my favorite Anakin parts in this is in the end of the first episode where we see Anakin and Ahsoka chasing after that slaver who's about to take off.
Remind me where that
There was the tentacle monster fight.
Oh, yeah,
the
that was
ship.
cool. I like that.
It reminded me of the bit in Force Awakens
Oh, yeah.
when Han Solo fights the tentacle monster.
Kind of, yeah. Again, another tentacle monster in Star Wars. Amazing. 10 out of 10. But what I really loved was, like, as you said, like, how they really wrote Anakin as dark when we see Anakin attacking that Zygerian slaver and Ahsoka is giving him, like, the looks like... And he's like, does he choke the slaver? Force choke him? In this?
No, he force chokes the Queen, but not
Hmm.
the slaver.
Okay, but yeah, I think just... Whenever I see that side of Anakin in the show, I think it's like a really good development because it is showing his
feeds
turn
into
to Darth Vader.
what he becomes. Yeah,
Exactly.
But no, how that was choreographed as well with them trying to get into the ship. I thought that was really fun because, like, Ahsoka was like following Anakin and it was like, "What now, Master?" And he's like, "I don't know. We'll just wing it." And then she ends up saying a line to him later where he's like, "Oh, I'm very good at pretending to be the Master," and she goes, "Yeah, you might want to work on that act a bit." It's like, I love that dynamic.
This is brought up a bit in the comics and a little bit in the show, but the fact that that the Padawans do call their superiors masters and stuff, it is a somewhat of a not exactly slavery, but a subservient type of relationship with their masters.
Considering how well the rest of the thing was written, I thought they would have picked that up, and at the end, maybe Ahsoka wasn't going to call Anakin master or something, or Anakin would have said, "No, don't call me that," because I thought that would have been an interesting way to cap off that arc with Anakin kind of rejecting the Jedi idea of master and Padawan.
But the thing is, you have to understand is that maybe it does eat away inside of him. That's why he does end up hating the Jedi Order.
Yeah, well, that does make sense. I would have liked to see that in this arc.
Yes, it would have been good to see. Yeah, I agree with that.
Considering how serious the arc itself was, you could have capped it off with something like that.
Actually, one of the things I didn't like was at the end, I think they should have addressed Anakin's feelings towards it all.
Yeah.
Because they only sort of did it in the first half of the arc. But the second half is just him being heroic.
Yeah, and in fact, Obi-Wan, what I also didn't like about this one and the Carnage of Krell arc is that Obi-Wan seems very passive about Anakin's emotional state. Like he never talks to, like, goes up and says, "Hey, Anakin, how's having your mother murdered? Is that good?" Like, Anakin has all this stuff.
He's meant to love him.
Yeah.
You are my brother, Anakin.
Exactly. He doesn't talk to him.
I didn't really care about your feelings, though. I'm not good at that kind of thing.
Well, to be fair, Jedi aren't good with feelings because they're told to repress their feelings.
I also think that Obi-Wan in this, he just trusts Anakin so much that he doesn't think that Anakin would do any bad.
He constantly does, though.
But Obi-Wan never sees him. Like,
upsettingly frequently.
Now, in this episode, whenever Anakin does, like, the harsh, aggressive actions, only Ahsoka sees it.
Yes.
Which makes me really pissed off that Ahsoka is not in anything else, because it seems like Ahsoka is very pivotal to Anakin's character.
I just picture like her bringing up to like Obi-Wan and is like, "Aren't you a little bit concerned with him? You know, his behavior." He's like, "Oh, boys will be boys," and in the background just stabbing children.
So my favorite little bit of animation character-driven story parts was when
so just everything.
I know, but it's when they're in the pit where Obi-Wan's about to get whipped by Anakin.
Yep.
But then Anakin does the little salute. And R2-D2 shoots the lightsabers out into Anakin and Obi-Wan's.
Like the film.
So, like, it's very much a callback to Return of the Jedi. When Luke does the same thing on the sail barge, he gives R2-D2 that little salute, and then R2-D2 shoots the lightsaber towards Anakin.
Oh, I thought that was more... I thought they did that in episode 3 as well.
Nope.
I like how R2-D2 can just do whatever.
Yeah, he is. But no...
He's got a little slot for everything.
He's 40% that.
Exactly. He takes SD cards, probably.
But, like, they do the same music and everything, and I watched also a side-by-side of that, and it's almost the exact same pacing and everything.
Oh,
and I thought it was a really great callback.
So, like, it cuts at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that seems like it's also storyboarders and the crew makes it, having little fun things that the audience won't necessarily notice, but it's just there just to be add that little extra bit of interest. That's really cool.
Do you think watching these makes the end of Revenge of the Sith more powerful?
I kind of think so, yes. Because, like, you see all the struggles that Anakin has.
Yeah, you get a much better, I guess, picture of their history.
Exactly.
Instead of just
Although,
skipping every
the only
10
bad
years.
thing is that Revenge of the Sith doesn't address any of it because it hadn't been made by then.
That's what I...
Remember when we were on that slaver planet? Like Obi-Wan's speech when he's on fire just goes for 15 minutes.
Remember on that nighttime planet when you got replaced by that evil guy?
Yeah. I think that was season 4.
I'm sorry about that. And where I didn't ask you about your parents, I'm sorry about that too.
What do you think about these circumstances?
That's what you always say.
I have to say, I think you're being rather rude.
Hey, Anakin, where's Ahsoka? But yeah, animation stuff.
Sorry, I keep thinking about Obi-Wan just trying to talk to
He
this
pulls
thing on
up like
fire.
a little stool and just sits next to him. I suppose my father never hugged me very much. I've been thinking of living on a desert planet for 20 years. What do you think, Anakin? Ah!
And then maybe after many years, I'll get a show about it. On a paid subscription thing.
I guess I've been drinking a little more since the movie didn't do very well, but I suppose the later seasons kind of salvaged that. How did you cope? Did your career recover? Ah!
So the first action set piece of the arc was when they were chased on those speeders. Mm-hmm. I really loved Ahsoka's lightsaber choreography there. Again, this is the first time I saw her with the two lightsabers, and actually the first time I've seen any character with two lightsabers in an animated
Apart from
series.
Ponkrell.
Oh, he doesn't count. He's a jerk.
Is there a canonical explanation for why the lightsaber battle at the end of A New Hope is so slow and awkward?
No. It's just the limitations of making that movie. That's it. There's no canonical reason.
Last time we did an episode on this, you said how they blocked out all their actions in 3D, and that's how they're able to have those moving 3D cameras and whatnot in the show. And having moving 3D cameras in a speeder chase like this, while you have a character flipping, is so dynamic and action-packed. It just, like, the action itself doesn't need to be perfectly animated. Just with that little movement of the camera, you just get all that energy. And it was so direct in where all the actions were going. It was just really, really fun. I like that.
What did you think of the fight with Obi-Wan and that Zygerrian slaver?
I thought that was fun. Although I never understood why he didn't use the Force and just, like, push him
think
off
it's-
a building.
Just rip his head off.
Because he was stalling for time. That's the whole reason. Because he knew that there were bombs and that Anakin and Ahsoka needed to
If
get
he
rid of the
pushes
bombs.
him off and he's dead, then you don't need a...
You don't need a stall anymore.
But Jedi don't kill people.
I mean, it wasn't him who killed him. It would have been the Four.
Exactly.
But I thought
He was fine when I pushed him off.
the animation for it, I thought was really well done because you'd feel every single hit. Like it was really impactful.
Although,
Is that when he's like hitting him?
yeah, they're doing the punch.
There is a weird animation thing that every time he hits him so hard that his whole like body like
just
pushes backwards.
yeah.
It's very strange.
I didn't like Obi-Wan. He's a capable fighter. Why does he just like get beaten the crap out of there? He's Obi-Wan. He can't lose like that.
He
On that
doesn't
note,
lose though.
while that's happening, I really like the part where Ahsoka and Anakin are on opposite sides trying to disable the bombs while there's two droider cars
Sniper
shooting at
joys,
them.
yeah.
Do you think while he was punching him, he's like, just like it breaks his hand? It's like, oh, what's with your beard? It's like made of balsa wood.
You really hate the fact that there isn't any actual hair physics and stuff, don't you?
I just think everyone's beard is so pointy you could take an eye out on it.
Okay, so the sniper droids.
No, I really liked that setup because it was interesting to have both characters on the other side of each other, still trying to work out a plan. And there was specifics. It wasn't just, oh, we throw our lightsabers at them. I remember in other films, most solutions was just like do that lightsaber throw and all your problems are solved.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, they actually needed a plan. Okay, we have to deflect it at the right time and then defeat those bombs. And it's like, oh, that's quite fun. Again, most of me during this arc was just, this is just really fun. I liked it.
It's a great adventure.
Like, if every arc was like this, where you just have the four characters doing little adventures like that, it's just nice.
Could Jedi stop regular bullets?
There's no regular bullets in the Star Wars
There's only
universe.
lasers.
But could they?
I reckon they could.
I mean, they can stop moving objects.
It's just that bullets seem to move faster than lasers. So
Yeah, because you can see them. I mean, lasers really should go at the speed of light, but we can
Yes.
see them kind of slowly careen towards their target.
It so gives
No
us-
wonder Darth Vader just goes, like, waves his hands around and blocks all the...
And even when Han Solo shoots at him in The Empire Strikes Back, it's like, oh, I can see it. Just, there we go. We stopped it. So what do you think of Anakin's flirting with Queen Mirage of the
It
Zygerrian
was
people?
embarrassing.
It was
It's really awkward.
really bad. And I think it's done very much on purpose because of how bad Attack of the Clones is.
I was gonna say, because it reminded me, like, it's so stilted and weird and uncomfortable.
But
But I'm like, it
apparently-
reminded me of Attack of the Clones.
Apparently, that's a thing in the Star Wars universe. The worse you sound, the more chances you're going to get
I can
with
just
women.
picture like Futurama when Zoidberg's trying to like court that love interest and Fry's like yelling at him like lines from the bushes. So just picture like that, but like Obi-Wan just like yelling at him.
But no, that part is it's just
She's so gross. She's just a cat lady. It's like, oh, I would really like to have sex with you, cat lady. And I'm like, no, awful, it's disgusting.
I like that. I thought because it made it also very obvious to the audience that he wasn't sincere as well. Like you can tell that he's trying to put it on
It's
and
like
somehow she fools.
It's like comically insincere though.
yeah, she,
It's like, you're looking mighty ravishing, my lady. And she's like, oh, pish posh, bloody hell.
why does she sound like Barjas?
I don't know.
So, who wants to get into the differences in the comic and the show?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Well, for one, the comic is hardcore pornographic.
That was my joke. I'll kill you.
Okay, so in the show we have the mature designs from season 3 onwards that
Yeah.
all the characters have. So Ahsoka's about 15, 16 at this point, and they have the designs are just a lot better. But in the comic, they still have their season 1 designs, which I hate with a passion.
Okay.
In the show, we see that Obi-Wan fights with that Zygerrian guy at the top of the tower.
Yep.
So in the comic,
Zygerrian prince.
in in the comic,
I thought you were going to give me gold in return for shipping it to America. Keep going.
in the comic, it was a he fought a Basilisk, which is the Dexter Jetster type.
Basilisk sounds like a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
It does, but
Or a basilisk.
So originally he fights like a Dexter Pong Krell type villain, but because
He was
the,
literally used in the Carnage of Crow,
Exactly.
which is the arc right
before it, so they had to change the design, which I think is for the better because it ties in more with what comes in the next few episodes.
Yeah, definitely.
All hail Krull.
If there was one Jetster character and the others are all these cat creatures, it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah, not at all. So in the comic, the Zygerrian characters are a lot more human. So instead of being very like cat-like and all that, they were pretty much normal human characters, but with very bright red hair and a bit weirder eyebrows.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. So the reason why they decided to make them more cat-like and stuff is to make them less human and not have much humanity.
And
It's
also,
a literal thing.
yeah,
Okay.
it's
They're
also,
not as human, so they literally don't have as much humanity.
and it's also on that note, you got to also realize it's a kid show, and you don't want them to make the direct comparison that humans and slavery is a thing.
Yeah.
Whereas if you make it cat people, it's like, oh, what these cat people doing are bad. You wouldn't want actual humans to do this, and meanwhile the parents are just going, yeah, that would be bad.
I hope it didn't make any like toddlers turn on their like household cats. Just like slowly lowering them into like a pot of water, just going, you can't hurt anyone anymore.
So at the end of the first episode, we have that fight where Ahsoka and Anakin go chase the Zygerrian and they have the octopus battle and stuff. So in the comics, that was the entire second issue, but it took place in space, and they had to also try to like trick there was a whole bunch of Zygerrians on that ship.
How'd they breathe in space?
They have these big helmets
Star
on.
Wars.
They literally had big astronaut helmets on, and then they also battled the octopus in space.
Well, that sounds.
But we know like Star
kind
Wars
of
was
amazing.
never about like technical explanations for
No,
anything.
it's more of a fantasy than a sci-fi. So
Like the Millennium Falcon breaks down and Han Solo just gets like a socket wrench.
let's hope this works.
That doesn't matter. Yeah.
So in the comics, Anakin's disguise was literally just an eye patch.
Yes.
He just put an eye patch on. He didn't put on the full Zygerrian costume.
Not
He put on an
perfect.
eye patch and was like, "Yep, I don't look like a Jedi anymore."
Does he lift it up and just like he was like, I've deceived you, lifts up his iPad and then
Anakin Skywalker.
No, they don't do that. But I think that's so stupid. How is just a normal eye patch gonna make you just whatever?
he can't be a Jedi, he doesn't have a pointy wooden beard.
That feels like did the comic also play this arc very seriously?
Yes.
In that case, where does an eye patch fit into a
So,
serious
actually, it's
atmosphere?
kind of the same. It's serious with that fun undertone
Like,
as well.
how would have he pitched this to Obi-Wan? It's like, okay, I've got a good disguise. What? That eye patch? Yes.
Now, in the comic book, it was much darker. He actually lost the eye, like the Walking Dead arc. The slavers tied him up,
Okay.
and they dug it out with a spoon.
Hell no! Don't
So
bring
let's
that
get
up
into
again.
something a bit weird with the comparisons. So, Ahsoka in the show, she wears this, when she's a slave, she wears this nice Middle Eastern inspired outfit, right?
Yeah.
It's not the
The
slave
blue-
layer outfit.
No. In the comic, keep in
It's
mind
gonna
the
be very
character
pornographic, isn't
is
it?
14.
Oh no.
All comic artists are perverts, basically, right?
She wears this really revealing leather bikini strap outfit.
Wait, this is another segment. Ben passes around his phone, and
you
you have no frame of reference for what we're looking at.
My favorite.
Yeah, that's a bit
It's a bit weird.
How old is she?
14.
Nah, I don't like that. You know, for
Oh,
children.
that's her skin. Okay.
Yeah, her
You know,
skin is orange.
You know, for children.
yeah.
Apparently.
Which I just found, like because I read the comics for this, I just found it super weird.
Look, it's not as bad as anime.
I only look-
level.
No, it isn't as bad, but for Star Wars, it's
Star
like,
Wars, that's pretty
what
bad.
the hell? In the show, we see Ahsoka sticking with Anakin, but originally Ahsoka went with Obi-Wan to rescue that Togruta chieftain, seeming that she's also one of their species.
How long was this comic arc?
6 issues.
That's long, yeah.
You know what? That makes sense
a whole
as
trade.
well in terms of where she would go. And then if you could actually criticize this arc at all in the episode version, the TV show version, it's that it focuses a lot on Anakin and Ahsoka as like their relationship and how they're dealing with slavery in their own ways, with her people being captive and him dealing with his past and whatnot. And yet the end of the episode is very much focused on Ahsoka and her people, like she talks to the
Yes.
chieftain, where it seems like they should have ended it with Ahsoka addressing it with Anakin. I just like that dynamic so much. I just wanted more of it.
Yeah. But then she goes back to Anakin after Obi-Wan gets captured because she escapes, and then that's when she wears the
Is Obi-Wan
slave.
also incompetent in the comic? Does he get captured and then just...
His arc is the exact same.
It feels like he was almost an afterthought. Like they just stuck him in because he's Obi-Wan.
So in the comic, Anakin doesn't flirt as much with the Queen.
It's just straight to the bedroom.
No. There's no
not a bit of romance in sight.
So the Queen kind of falls in love with him, but he doesn't really do any flirting or anything. He's just like, oh yeah, here's the slave for free just to win your favor. But he doesn't do that weird flirting Attack of the Clones dialogue
Yeah, like,
in the comic. So, they added that for the show, which is, what we all
Awful.
wanted to see.
I wanted more of Anakin's love life.
Yeah. So in the show, there were 50,000 of the Togruta people who were captured. But in the comic, it was 8 million.
Oh, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of, whoa, why'd they downscale how many?
I
for
think
the
because-
show?
I think because
when
the
you-
rendering
yeah,
farm
when you're
would melt.
rendering. You don't want to render so many millions of people.
Yeah,
You
but
just
they
wanna-
can infer that there were that many people taken.
It'll be like that Simpsons hard cut when like I just picture them like at the rendering farm is like, the shots all planned out. All I have to do is press render and and then it hard cuts to like people running out of the building on fire.
So in the comic, do you know how Anakin gives Ahsoka to the Queen as
Yeah.
a gift? So the Queen abuses Ahsoka a lot in the comic.
Oh no.
Like slaps her, steps on her.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
It's a bit graphic.
No.
So I'm glad they didn't include that as well.
Yeah, no, that's bad. Don't show that to kids.
I think the comics kind of skew older. I think comic readers tend to be a little bit older.
Yeah, that's always the case.
So in the comic, Count Dooku wants the Queen to terminate Anakin, Obi, and Ahsoka, but she refuses.
Dooku.
Instead of when Obi-Wan is captured and is taken to the slave planet Kadavo. So that was did you know that was a whole different planet? Yeah.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
Obi-Wan was kept.
Is
So
it
that
also a desert?
no.
Okay.
It's just a barren wasteland.
Oh, so it's a
The
desert.
whole thing. So instead of the Togruta people falling into that endless pit, they actually fall into a pit of lava.
I love your
Oh,
explanation.
what?
In the comic, yeah, they fall into a pit of lava instead.
I love your explanation of just like, no, it's a wasteland. The whole thing, which is how you describe every Star Wars planet.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, it's an X. The whole thing.
Yeah, they fall into lava, so, that's...
They can't survive that.
No, they cannot.
Unless you're Darth Maul, in which case you just, I don't know,
He didn't fall into
survive
lava,
via-
though. He got cut in half. He should have died.
Yeah, and he caught on fire with the hot coals and stuff.
He did fall very far. What did he land in, canonically?
What do you mean?
Darth Maul, what did he land? What was at the
Darth
bottom?
Maul.
Was it just like a bunch of other like corpses cut in half
I
that
don't
broke
know.
his fall?
They've never shown what he falls into.
I want to see a mini-series of just like Darth Maul just like hitting the ground, having to, it's like the Revenant, just him having to like claw his way back out. He's played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
So, do you guys remember at the end of the second episode when Anakin and the Queen are talking about how he is a slave and that how they can be together and make something great?
Yep.
So before that in the comic, they actually show a scene of him being a bodyguard and like actually defeating people for her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he doesn't kill people because that's not the Jedi way. And she goes, "Oh, why didn't you kill them?" He says, "Because I'm a Jedi. Even though I'm your slave now, still not going to kill them."
But wait, he's killed people in this episode.
I know.
In the show, he killed like tons of people.
But then she goes, "Okay, I guess that makes sense." And anyway, that means they can strike fear into their enemies, knowing that there's a Jedi on her team. So yeah, that happened.
They kind of inferred that he was a bodyguard though when he stopped the first one. So
And he asked for ID.
So in the comics,
This isn't a valid Victorian state driver's license.
Asajj Ventress was part of the story.
who's that?
Ventress, do you know that bald woman with the 2 red lightsabers?
Oh, I like her. She's cool.
Yeah, so originally she was part of it in the comics, and when the Queen refused to kill them, Dooku sent her to kill the Jedi instead.
Okay.
Obviously, she fails, but
Ah.
I mean, she fails all the time.
yeah. And then, actually, I won't ruin that. Then something happens to her. So in the comic, Anakin doesn't take the Queen with him in the escape. Do you know how, like, when she dies,
Yeah.
he takes her with him?
He just leaves
with
her on the floor.
Yep. So she tells him where Obi-Wan is on the floor, and then he just dies there, and then. So, you know, it's a great death. 10 out of 10.
I mean, the death in the thing wasn't much different, but the fact that Anakin still tried to save her just adds to the fact that it was trying to show Anakin's still heroic.
Also, a bit of morality as well, like grey morals there with the Queen. Even though she was like a real piece of shit, there was still a bit of a connection between the two.
I guess, yeah.
At the very end battle where they're rescuing all the Togruta and Obi-Wan. So originally that was a lot bigger in scale in the comics, where there was also a space battle happening with General Grievous coming in.
Yeah, but like, art I guess has like an unlimited budget. You
Exactly.
can just draw whatever.
Also, deciding to keep it focused on the main characters without adding even more characters would have been
Also,
a lot.
I know that the Clone Wars had this very specific thing that Michael knows as well, and of course you
I know something about Star Wars.
is that General Grievous could never be in the same room as Anakin because of the throwaway line in Revenge of the Sith where Anakin just says, "Oh, General Grievous, you're shorter than I expected." So throughout the entire 5 seasons of...
Unless he saw him before, but he was taller.
Yeah, well...
It was,
no.
General Grievous.
They literally-
You used to be taller.
They literally make sure that they never meet in the show.
Oh, okay.
Like, there was a part that Ben showed me, it was one of the cutout episodes of season
7.
7 or something, where Obi-Wan literally is next to Anakin, but Anakin is looking another way while he sees General Grievous.
And then Obi-Wan
That's almost-
waves at General Grievous.
Yeah.
Is that real?
Yeah, that's what happened.
That's almost like a farce. It's like a comedy.
Yeah.
It should just be. It'd be like one of those misunderstanding comedies when like they always like miss each other in like the airport or something.
Scooby-Doo always.
Yeah, just like Grievous, where are you? I can hear your voice.
And the final thing is that at the end of the comic, there was more of a dialogue about Anakin being a slave and how Obi-Wan now understands what Anakin went through. And I thought
Does
that
he
was-
though?
I mean,
This experience. Oh yeah, kinda. I guess, but also no.
yeah. But like he has a taste of like what Anakin did go through, and he went through that for like the first 10 years of his life, so he has more empathy for him.
Everyone's gonna keep bringing it up like at parties, or just like bringing it up to like his grandkids. Is like, you know, your kids got it too easy. I was a slave once. It's like, Grandpa Obi-Wan, you were a slave for like
3 days.
3 days.
Yep.
And then like every time Anakin's in the room, it's like, oh kids, I was a slave too. It's like, yes, me and Anakin were slaves. We've had it very, very rough.
I really like your Obi-Wan voice. I find it very funny.
What did you think of Obi-Wan's voice, by the way?
It's close to Ewan McGregor. It's got like a ruggish charm to it, but it's also quite posh and you know,
Yes.
like there's an elegance to the way he talks.
It sounds Anakin sounds nothing like Hayden Christensen.
He just sounds like a guy.
Yeah.
But like no, I like whoever they got to do Ooga Magooga.
Ooga
Arnold James Taylor.
Okay, yeah.
All the voice
good
acting in it is pretty on par. Like, it's great. It's not... There was never one voice that I thought really stood out. Like, even Count Dooku's voice, it's not Christopher Lee, but it sounds close enough to be Count Dooku.
Yes. Okay, and that is the end of our Star Wars talk, I guess, unless you want to do final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I liked it. It's fun. Watch it.
Yeah.
Anakin, remember when we were both slaves that one time? I mean, I really felt like I understand the plight of your people.
Okay. So, next week, we are going to be talking about
Yu-Gi-Oh! The dark side of... Who
The
gives a
Dark
crap?
Side of the Moon.
the 2016 film, The Dark Side of
Pink
Dimensions.
Floyd, The Dark Side of Dimensions.
That one. What Michael said.
Yep, and it's
It's basically about not wanting to go to school and wanting to become like professional duelists, so they don't need no education.
Yeah, sure. They don't need it.
also, we're also doing one more final Star Wars arc. I think it's going to come out a few days
Does this
before
one have
the
Grand
rise.
Admiral Thrawn in it, so
No.
I can stop?
But it's going to come out a few days before the rise of Skywalker,
Are
I
you
think.
sure you don't want to do something from Rebels?
Yes.
But then we can see Thrawn.
We can do it next year, okay?
Oh, no.
We'll just have a little picture of
You
him
know
as
what?
we talk.
Star Wars Rebels is on Disney Plus. You can go watch it, Michael.
I can watch it now
But he
because
doesn't
From
like
season
Star
3
Wars.
onwards. That's when Admiral Thrawn is in Rebels.
okay,
from
I'll watch an
season 3.
episode with Admiral Thrawn after I'm done with Agent Carter. I don't know. What are the 3 shows I'm interested in on Disney Plus?
Okay, so if you would like to contact us in any way, shape, or form, like if you want to criticize us, you want to praise us, if
Just said anything.
you want to give us some money,
we got a bit. We got some nice requests like in the middle,
yeah.
and then nothing. I think it's because we mention people's names too much.
Maybe.
We'll use aliases from now on.
We'll call you Karen.
Call you-
Unless your name is Karen.
everyone will be Karen.
Unless your name is Karen, then you're Tom.
Then you're Tom.
And then we all know what your name is.
If you're Tom, you're Karen. Go back to Karen.
Okay. So we are at animate3pod@gmail.com, and you can find us anywhere where podcasts are. In fact, actually, I
Oh,
found
did
out
Google
we're on
Play finally let us in?
No, I found another place we were on, and then I started trying to get people to follow me, but I don't think it worked.
It's fine.
It's fine. Okay. So that is the end of the podcast today, and I guess Disney Plus and Netflix sponsor us, please.
Yeah.
So Pixar Computer was to do like animations and that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, so that's what Pixar is, and that's where they got the name. And Steve Jobs bought them, and then Disney bought it, and all that.
It's like how Warner Brothers is named after a computer.
Okay.
Fucking atrocious. Can we cut that one?
Yes, I will.
Let's put it at the end.